very warm welcome to you all to our annual electronic music gathering here in Cardiff, Wales, CYMRU Beat 17, which centres around the ever-popular and ever-expanding world of the modular synthesizer. We're in the intimate settings of the lovely Seligman Theatre at Chapter Arts Centre. Thanks to all of you for being here today and sharing our enthusiasm for this fascinating and creative, constantly evolving way of creating new music. We are also streaming live to YouTube and welcome friends, enthusiasts and electronic music lovers from around the world. Our live stream this year is again courtesy of Sonicstate, one of the world's foremost electronic music, synthesizer and studio technology websites. Sonicstate is a proudly British pioneering internet content creator based in Bath. They provide a fantastic service to the world community with unerring enthusiasm, for which I'd like to thank them. Nick Batt is here, but please no pulse width modulation jokes tonight. So what exactly is a modular synthesizer, I hear you ask? I suppose it's best described as an electronic musical instrument that you design yourself. Most of us find ourselves chained to a computer all day long these days, and the desktop computer has to a large extent taken over music production tasks too. So the modular takes you away from the computer back to the tactile experience of playing an instrument, sculpting sound and experimentation through mistakes, happy accidents, and just losing yourself in a journey of sonic discovery. For me, electronic music is as much about sound design as it is about music, and the Eurorack Modular is probably the single most exciting framework for sound design that I've seen in my lifetime. The sheer number of new and exciting modules becoming available from talented designers around the world is quite staggering and frankly difficult to keep up with. The Eurorack framework enables talented new young electronics designers to bring their creations to the market in a way that they wouldn't have been able to in the past without huge R&D and production costs. Synthesizers and electronic music devices used to be the domain of large musical instrument manufacturers, but not anymore. The modular synthesizer is the new world order in sonic creation. Viva la revolution. So we're very excited to have an incredible lineup of talent for you here tonight. You'll see Ian Boddy and Nigel Mullaney, Wisdom Water, Martin Dubka, and Mylar Melodies. But we're starting tonight with our friend, John Biddulph. John has worked as a pro musician, classical and jazz on clarinet, sax and keyboards, before studying again and changing career to become an autism consultant. He is a published composer, classical and electronic, has written music for film and theatre, played sax, flute and wind synth on a track that got to #1 in the UK Bhangra charts. As you can see, he's also a modular enthusiast. Please welcome John. John, would you like to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thank you. I used to be a professional musician, but I'm all right now. And when I trained much earlier on in my life, I thought that was the ultimate thing to do. And the really nice thing is that I put a few raindrops in, by the way, to just sort of set the atmosphere and cool you down. I thought you might like that. I decided that music wasn't actually the best way of earning a living and making a career, but it gave me lots and lots of lovely opportunities. So I kind of spend my time sometimes being a saxophonist still. So if any of you are in Derbyshire next weekend, you can come to a little boutique festival called Exile there and see me playing in the jazz trio that I'm a member of. But today is absolutely 100% modular. And the thing that makes it so exciting and interesting for me is that it enables me to control and manipulate sound. And that for me is the most extraordinary thing to be able to do. I really love sitting down and being able, as Simon says, to make my own synthesizer. I mean, sometimes quite literally make my own synthesizer with no real technical ability required. And the really nice thing for me is that I actually use my modular music making in some of the music work that I do in the field of autism. And I can't actually really do a demonstration of the work that I do when I'm sort of back at work, as it were. But it's really interesting because it actually enables and facilitates expressive and creative sound making for people who maybe find other aspects of the world quite difficult to engage with. So one of the things that I'd really like to do, just by way of sharing something with you, because I thought it might be interesting for you to just very briefly, I promise, see something along the lines of the work that I do and how it works, and then I'll play you a few bits and pieces of music that are based on themes of work that I do in my daily living nowadays. So just the first thing, Simon, can I just go into my set now? Is that?
You want to keep it like that?
Please, can I just pop it on this stand whilst I? By the way, I should just say, on that subject, if any of you like anything that I do this evening, that doesn't constitute a diagnosis of autism, okay? It's a bit more involved than that. You know, I'd have to sit down with you in the bar for at least 5 minutes to really decide. But if you like some of the stuff that I'm coming up with, it's what I use in part of my daily work. So, just very briefly, I may, just come up with something very simple. So we get an oscillation, and then I may get the person to filter it. And then I may show them how you can add what in the jazz world we call a bit of talent. Reverb. Those of you that make modular music, that moment in your little room, the dining table that's awash with modular synth stuff and everything else, you kind of, you do something that you regret, and but it's a great learning curve, isn't it? And of course, some of the people that I work with prefer that to the first thing that I played you. Why shouldn't they? Okay, I'm going to begin by using an instrument that I find fascinating. It's possibly a Victorian instrument of torture that's been modified into a musical device, but it's called a luminist garden, and if they look like guitar strings, they are, but I'm no guitarist, I promise you. And I was serious. If you did like any of that, it doesn't mean that you're actually on the autism spectrum. But thank you very much for your appreciation. Thanks. Yes. Let them hear them. Well, then go and choose some sounds that they don't find abrasive by asking. One of the things that's really nice is to get some field sounds, get a recorder, go out, find some sounds that the person finds interesting. Steam trains are quite nice sometimes. Again, if you like steam trains, that doesn't put you on the autism spectrum. But yeah, field recordings can be used in compositions. You know, I have a young man that loves the underground in London, so we recorded some tube train sounds and then just fed them into the modular, and although you probably didn't notice, there was an actual Mind the Gap that I used at one point from some of the sampling sounds that I use. So you can integrate live sounds, interesting sounds, any sounds that you like. And it might be that, you know, recording a little bit of Doctor Who might go down well sometimes as well. Modular samplers. I'm sort of, I'll have to turn around and read you what they are. I know I've got a make noise morphogene, which is really nice. I enjoy manipulating sound with that. I've got a qubit wave, whatever that means, and a qubit nebula. So I've got things that I can sample, and actually most of the sounds that you heard in the piece that I've just done were all sounds taken from outside the environment. And really, you know, as Simon says, the most extraordinary thing about modular is that you can take a sound for a walk, you can do with it all sorts of really interesting things, and most of all, make it your own. You know, that is something. There is a bit of a health warning that comes with the modular packaging as well for me, and that is, as a musician, which you are if you make modular music, then you're instantly thrown into the business of being the composer and performer all rolled into one. And that can be a bit daunting. When I learnt the sax, I learnt the little D and E march first, and it didn't really kind of make very much demands of my composing ability. But on a modular, it really does require you to kind of take on lots and lots of different facets as a musician. But it's worth it, and it's good fun. And you can, I mean, I know this sounds a bit weird. There are no connotations in any direction for this statement I'm about to make, but you can do it on your own. Sorry, I mean, that sounds, I know, yeah. But it is wonderful. You can do it on your own. You can take sounds that you're interested in and manipulate them. You can create wholly new sounds. One of the things that I'm working on at the moment, and this isn't a plug, and that wasn't a pun, is something that I'm calling M3. I know that's a screw in modular terms. Sorry, that sounded rather indelicate. The greatest modular device I've got at the moment is this, actually. It's a really good little thing. It's for finding the screws that you dropped in the case and fastening the power cables onto pins and things like that. They're really good. I think it's a device called a torch. But they're useful. But I'm working on this M3 thing, which is nothing to do with fastening modules into the modular, but actually some ideas for composing, because the internet, and YouTube in particular, is absolutely awash with amazing technical rundowns of a modular. This is what it can do, this is what it can't do. But it's very difficult to find somewhere that gives you the inspiration, unless you've got it already, for music making. So my M3 modular music manifesto, sorry, it sounds really grand, doesn't it? But it's better than one or two manifestos I've read recently. But, you know, I want to give people some opportunity. So part of the pieces that you heard tonight was an exploration of harmonics in sound from a project that I've called Grid. And that's all about sort of electricity and pylons, because I'm a member of the Pylon Appreciation Society. I didn't just make that up. There really is one. It's totally wonderful. Yes, that's right. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, yeah. The Pylon Appreciation Society is well worth joining, if only just to be able to go around and tell people that you remember. You know, so join that. And oh, yeah, and you know the sort of urban myth about standing under a pylon with a fluorescent tube. Well, it does actually work, I'm told. You know, a man of my professional standing couldn't possibly be found standing under a pylon with an electric tube late at night. But just finally, you know, modular music's about composing as well as exploring how to twiddle the knobs and how to actually make sounds. And I think that's something incumbent upon us all. It's great if you like EDM, and there's a lot of it around us and other forms of, you know, modern electronic music. But actually, every single modular musician owes it to themselves to develop their own musical voice. And the nice thing is, with modular, you can do that so easily. Don't be daunted. You know, it's perfectly okay and doesn't make you a bad human being or musician if the first time you encounter it, you sit there and just tweak the knob on the oscillator and make it go up and down a bit. We've all been there, you know. But it's a lovely way of exploring sound, and I think my ambition, if you like, is to actually make some ideas available to people. I've got one little thing that says, in the corner is a black box. You open it, and it's full of stars. And then I've got a sample of my daughter when she was 5, so 25 years ago, saying it's full of stars. And I used that in a performance of that piece. That wasn't an advert. I'm just trying to encourage and, you know,